Welcome to EVE Online. I'm Major Freak. A few tips and tricks for running missions that you might not know, or never really looked into, or maybe you know this, might know all of them. If so, you've learned more about EVE than I have. The rewards for running missions for standing change depends heavily on the size of the corporation. It doesn't say it anywhere in the Wikipedia or the EVE Help Center. It's not easily found. But as you can see here, you have pretty much a static level of reward in standings. It will slowly drop as you increase in standings. So if you say you had a character running with 6 standing, they would get pretty much half the reward ish, right? But this is a medium and regional, and I'm running at the same time I'm running missions for Claquit too. Claquit. Sorry, I'm from British Columbia. Claquit sound. Kaliakotia or something like that. That's how you pronounce it, I think. Google has it. But this is huge and global, and as you can see, it's pretty much half the standing increase that I can get with the Imperial Chancellor. Now, the nice thing about running missions for this corporation is, or these two corporations, is in both these systems is I might get more standings per mission running with Chancellor, but I don't have a nearby in-court storyline for this, whereas I do for the Kyoto corporation. And that one gives me a huge boost, of course, when I do the storyline every once in a while. And since I have 3 level 2 agents at Ziona at the same station, gives me I'll have the same amount. It'll pretty much be in lockstep. I'll get to level 3, standing 3, which gives me access to level 3. Now, the second tips and tricks is it's quite frustrating to intuitively understand what level of agent you have access to. So we'll start off with the first, very most important thing to talk about is that even though you're -2 or below, you always have access to level 1 agents, regardless. Okay? Alright, so third tips and tricks, we'll talk about the other levels. So, level 1, standing 1, you get standing 1 at all. It's easy enough to do for Empire. And you get access to level 2. You go up each odd increase, each odd number up, like 3 standing, you get level 3. So, this is the key, of course. For me, level 3 is perfect. I get access to locate agents, which are awesome. They're great. You get, it's really helpful to get level 3 agents. And it only costs you level 3 standing. Level 4 means you need 5. Remember, it goes up by an odd number. So you're at 5, and level 5 needs 7. So it'll help you understand how to do the math. Okay. Connection skill will give you a permanent boost to your standings, but as your level increases, the less impact that skill has on your overall effective standing. Negotiations. What does negotiations do again? I think it's reward. it gives you ISK reward, not LP reward. Pretty sure. Let me just confirm. Right. So that'll increase your pay. Social skill will increase your standing boost per mission. The LP is directly tied to the security level, the system security. So the lower you are, the better your LP reward will be, which is the main income you will get from doing missions. The main one. It's huge. And the rewards, the best rewards, the best LP store stuff to get are blueprints, and you can easily find that on fuzzworks.com, and it will show you what you can get per LP, ISK per LP for your stuff, and it can get up to 3,000 easily. Sometimes it's lower because of market depression, because this is a PvP game. It's a MOG. You're competing with other characters. Even in this Care Bear kind of thing, everything is PvP, and yeah, it's very competitive. But yeah, you're looking at 3,000 per LP. It's a great income. It absolutely dominates mission playing. So don't forget your LP, and don't fritter your LP away on silly things. Realize that it's most of your income. Right. Moving on. We've covered the standings for the corporation. We've talked about the standings per level. The materials for war preparation will give you implants, which are if you sell to market, makes it quite lucrative. And when you're doing distribution agent missions, you get a lot of these. So it's a little bit of ISK padding, that's for sure. Materials for war is great. When you're running missions a lot for, say, Caldari and Amar, my standings for Galenti and Minmatter will drop. Now, derived and through shooting NPCs that are linked to the factions, but realize that some missions will give you less, like insignificant standings drops compared to some missions which you'll shoot an innocuous structure and it'll give you a massive, like 10 times at least your usual standings drop. So do be careful of those missions, but don't reflexively decline all missions. Realize that, yeah, there are some that'll give you a huge drop, but there are most of the others just won't. It'll just be minuscule drop. And it's not a drop per ship you shoot. It's just the maximum drop you could get every tick. And a tick, of course, if you didn't know, was the reward you get for bounties every 20 minutes. People think it's 15, but no, it's 20 minutes. Trust me. Absolutely, well, you can freaking trust me. I'm this freaking king of mechanics, so I've tested it. This is not hearsay. I've tested it. So it's every 20 minutes, you'll get your tick for bounties, which is just a compilation of all the rats you killed. But your standing loss, if you shot a faction ship or a faction structure, will be the maximum one. It's counted against one hit. So if you shot like 20 faction ships and then you get to that tick, it rolls over, it'll only count for one of those ships. So yeah, some of the missions are okay to do. It's just a learning process, right? And unfortunately, Wiki and Eve Survival never show that stuff. So yeah, note to self, right? It's something I'll eventually do, but I'd rather do a lot of other things. It's low on my totem pole of things to do, and I've got a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, don't expect me to get around to that anytime soon. Now, you can see a maximum of 25 missions in this list. To keep a record, I'm taking screenshots to get an idea of, how fast you can increase, how quickly you can do it, but I have to take screenshots. The way to get this, to expand this wide, is to say bring up your wallet and then hook it to your character sheet, because if you don't, you're not able to stretch it very far, as much as I can. So yeah, all you do is go boop, close, bam, and it'll remember your option. If you close this and open it the next time, it'll be the same thing. There you go. Most people don't pay attention to this anyways. When I'm doing this, I'll close agents and factions, because when your standings increase, it resorts your list, and it's difficult to get a handle on the scroll bar when you're trying to pay attention to stuff. That's a minor tips and tricks. Tips and tricks. Now then, what else? Of course, running distribution courier missions is great. I've got a bunch right now, and I've got 3 on the go. I just add waypoint. I've got a blockade runner, or you can use a tripped out mammoth or anything like that, and I've got it set up for speed, alignment, and just moving as fast as possible. And I've got 5,000, which is enough for running as many level 3s as you can possibly shove in your cargo hold. And I get these accepted, and I set my waypoints. And finding mission hubs like this is rare. The best one, of course, is Ziono and Akragan. That it's universe-wide, guaranteed the best. And I enjoy it too, because these same stations have a ton of locate agents too. I've got just an insane amount of locate agents, and all I need standings with is Kalialkotia. It's going to be hard to remember that name, pronunciation. Chancellor and Civil Services. Off we go. And yeah, it's level 3 locate agents. It's exactly what I'm after. And I don't do missions because they suck. I mean, compared to everything else in Eve that you can do now, like Abyssal and Pirate Strongholds and probably Faction Warfare and Homefront, which is, I wouldn't recommend it for noobs. It's a very grindy, soul-sucking thing made for people using 5 alts, groups of 5 alts to just grind ISK. Yeah, but those 3 things are great, and there's incursions too. I haven't done incursions yet. But yeah, there are people who are just multi-boxing maniacs doing it. Just like Pirate Strongholds, the ability to scale well with Omega accounts is all those things I listed, pretty much de rigueur for multi-boxers. But also it's, I mean, if you've got a good group together, you can do it solo as well and make a decent income. Yeah, I mean, Pirate Strongholds, that's 30 million per fob. That's 15 minutes work. If you're lucky, you could do 3 or impossibly 4 in an hour, but usually 3 if you're lucky. So that's, that's almost 100 million an hour for just basically easy work. And you can probably make 17 every 15 minutes with Homefront, which, is more. I guess, let's see, 15, 17, no, it's 30. It's probably, sorry, I suck at math. Probably the equivalent. Yeah, so There's a lot of really cool stuff you can do in Eve that's fun and not as grindy as, say, Homefront stuff. But yeah. Yeah, the Abyssal I'd really recommend solo players do. It's a lot of fun, and there's differing tiers. You can slowly work your way up to where you promoted just beyond your level of competency. Figure out your level of competency you can get to and have some fun. I mean, tier 1 is quite lucrative per hour, honestly, and that is agitated. See, 0 is tranquil, 1 is calm, 2 is agitated. Yeah, anyways, but tier 1, I guess calm is still lucrative. They're all quite lucrative, actually, compared to anything else you could do in Eve, which is amazing. Mining sucks. The only good mining is low-sec anomalies like Crocite and nice anomalies in low-sec. It's entirely competitive with even the R64, the best low-sec and null-sec moon mining, right? Yeah, I'm digressing, sorry. I'm just trying to give you a relative picture of the incomes here. But yeah, missions, they are not good. Let's see now. When you hit -5 in standings to another faction, their customs agents will shoot at you and web you, but they will never warp, disrupt, or scram you. So no long points and no scrams. So it's effectively a great way to travel around really quick if you've got a heavy ship, because webbing helps you warp faster. Yeah, go around with a freighter. That would be hilarious. Let's see what else. There are some tips and tricks in here that you'd get just reading the NPC standings. It's quite fascinating. Yeah, like you'll always be able to talk to level 1 agents. You'll never be warped, scrammed, or disrupted.
Drive active.
You have to be 0 standing or above to join that faction warfare thing. Yeah, apparently the epic arcs will gain you standing without losing other standings. They'll derive standings negative. I've heard that before, but I have a doubt. I've run the SOE epic arc, but honestly, I forget if you do lose standings. But yeah, apparently you don't lose any standings with other factions once you make your choice, which is awesome. So that's something to note. Running around like mad trying to do all the Cosmos agents you can, and the Circle agents and all the other bullshit, data centers and stuff. The derived negative standings you get from other corporations, other factions, mean that trying to do all of them universe-wide will just simply keep you at 0. So I wouldn't recommend running universe-wide, trying to do all of them, thinking you're actually getting some benefit out of it, because you won't. Yes, 6.67 standing with a corporation will give you tax-free refining. I think it's 6 standing will give you 0 tax at, well, I guess it's the same thing, isn't it? We'll give you 0 tax for reprocessing scrap metal. Now, pay attention. When you refine ore, it's massively different than when you reprocess scrap metal like loot, because loot is not influenced by rigs. It's not influenced by anything you can plug into Upwell. It's not influenced by implants, and it's not influenced by any skill except scrap metal reprocessing, which takes a hell of a long time to train up. So just be aware. All right. And your maximum you can get, period, is 55%. If you don't have the skill, it's 50%. So you're only getting really 10% more, which is pretty good. And of course, if you got standings, you'll have tax-free reprocessing and refining at NPC stations where you have high standings for. So that's a good thing. I think that's about it. Everything else is just math, which I hate. Yeah, the criminal connections is just connections boost, like I said, boost permanently your stats with NPC entities, right, when you're doing agent missions, but you won't get that skill applied to criminal, like the pirate connections. That only counts for criminal connections. So and I have never run missions for any of the pirate agents ever, so I have no idea about that at all. Diplomacy is pretty cool because, you know, when I said you got negative faction standings when you're running missions for one particular standing, diplomacy helps offset that. It will actually give you a positive standing. It's pretty funny. Sometimes. All right. Yeah, everything else is either outdated, obsolete, or not really relevant to, you know, your game style. Yeah, the best way to do. Yeah, this is the best way to do distribution missions. Do a bunch at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and the only place in the universe that is the best for this is for level 2 and level 3. It's Akragan and Ziona. Just hands down the best place in the universe to do it. And yeah, when you dock, the one most of the time, when you've docked, it will light up green, or whichever way I guess you've got your background set to, but it will highlight whatever mission you need to complete when you're docked. So it's kind of helpful. Yeah. Is there anything else? Not really. The amount of time I have to decline missions to low sec is so low that I can just decline anything to low sec, and I typically will not get a repeat of that in 4 hours. Not that I've seen. Other tips and tricks are you'll mostly be sent a mission station. When you're on a mission station taking distribution agents, it will prefer a certain system and a certain constellation to send you to, and then everything else tends to go in lesser proportion. So you're almost always going to be sent in a certain direction, and anything else is kind of random. So once you find out that, it could be to your benefit. Like I'm in the next constellation is Hara, and I'll always be sent there. I try to figure out the math on that, but I couldn't really. It seems to me random per place, so you'll just have to discover it for yourself.
Docking permission requested.
But yeah, a lot of constellation you get sent to it a lot when you're running stuff out of
Docking request accepted.
Pazerba constellation. I forget, whatever. So see, highlighted. So I just go start, done. There we go. Yeah, and pretty quickly when you're doing this, you'll get storyline agents. And if you ignore a storyline agent, the next storyline agent near the next nearest storyline agent will give you another, and you've got 6 days ish to accept that mission from the storyline agent. So potentially I'm testing right now how many storyline agents I can stack up until I get the storyline agent I want, right? And just complete that, and of course keep track, decline the missions from those storyline agents I really don't want to run missions for. But what I'll probably do when I get to 3 standing is just complete all of those standing missions, storyline missions, at once, so I don't get any penalty for forgetting about it and walking away from missioning. That would be bad. So yeah, I'm thinking hopefully that I can get more than 2, because when you read the blurb in Wikipedia, and maybe probably not the CCP official blurbs, it mentions you will get a second storyline agent offered to you if you ignore the first. But I'm hoping I can stack these up repeatedly, ad infinitum, until I find something I like, and then I can start accepting those. But that's just a minor curiosity. I wouldn't recommend it as a tactic. Alright, and off I go back home. Yeah, and who are you anyways? Do I even want to run Agents Emperor? Probably, because Emperor Family, yeah, for sure. Because that is... Ooh, fun. I got another... That's probably Clackwood. Sorry. Kelio Kyoto. Yeah. Sakura. Yep. Yep. I'll go there first. Super easy to do.
Drive active.
See, anything else? Mining sucks. Don't do mining missions. They suck, absolutely. They suck balls. You can't even use crystals in them. Yeah, CCP hasn't worked out a fix for that yet, huh? Lol, it's been, what, 2 years? I know. Pfft, whatever. Courier missions are okay. Security missions are also okay. It takes longer, and they're grindy, and, take certain fits and blah blah blah, but they're probably more lucrative at times than distribution. Distribution agents for me is all about the standings, right? I can boost standings a hell of a lot more quickly than I can with security agents, since I'm running multiple agents at the same time, which you typically can't do it easily with security agents, except for the lowest levels. Once you get to level 4 distribution agents, you're Omega, duh. It's the only people who can access level 4. And use a blockade runner in low-sec and do it that way. It's, the lower, remember, the lower your security system of the agents you're running for, the more LP you will get. And remember, it's the LP which is the key to income for missions. So, right? So the low you can get. There's some good ones out there. I have, of course, a playlist about that. Definitely check the low sector for courier agents. I did the universe-wide. Clearing a path for an A. Great. Whatever, I'll run it. Anyways, that's it for now. I'll go get a combat ship. Probably get a courser. Run that. Should be easy enough. If it isn't, I'll get another ship. Yeah, anyways, I think that's about it. Tried to cover everything. Yeah, the most important, of course, is that, yeah, they'll never weapon scram you if you're hostile to another faction. And realize the maximum negative standing you can get is what's listed on the interfaction. So the maximum negative you can, oh, that's pretty funny. The maximum negative you can get is MR Emperor to, so min matter -5. Yeah, the maximum standings I can get against other factions is Galente -2, min matter -5, and that's it for the actual stuff that counts, right? Say if I was right, so you just look at this list and go, oh, okay, I can't get any worse than, right? So running for Caldari, the only faction you need to worry about is Galente, and once you hit -5 standing, you don't really have to worry because you're not going to get worse. So you don't have to always go back and make sure to lower your Galente Federation because it'll max out at 5, and every once in a while, if you feel like not being hassled in Galente Federation, go run the Epic Arc, the Sisters of Eve, right? So yeah, that's something to note. You're never going to max out at -10 for Galente or anything like that. So that's something to keep note of. Yeah, I think that's it. Anyways, have yourself a good one.
Active.